welcome to another episode of In the Kitchen with Sandy. And I'm so excited. This is all about Thanksgiving right here, and I'm sharing with you some of my best recipes for Thanksgiving that I like to make for my family. And today I'm making dressing, and it's really delicious, very tasty. It's just amazing, and so simple to make, and it is just so full of flavor, So let's go over what we will be using. First thing I've done is I preheated my oven to 450 degrees, and I have liberally sprayed a baking pan with a non-stick cooking spray because easy cleanup. So what we're going to be using today is I've got some seasoned breadcrumbs. Now this is the sage and onion, and this is cornbread stuffing. So we're also going to be using cornbread, and what I've already done is I've already made my cornbread ahead of time, and ideally you want to make your cornbread a day before. You want to leave it out on your counter so it can get nice and crunchy, nice and hard, still. Let's put it that way, still. And we're also going to be using some butter. And in here I've got a little bit of onion salt. This is poultry seasoning, a little bit of poultry seasoning because that's got all the good flavors in it. A little bit of salt and pepper, and then here I have some diced up onions and celery. And if you've seen any of my other videos where I've made dishes with celery, and I've told you to save these, the leaves of the celery, because they add, there she goes, every one of my videos have her in it. They add an abundance of flavor, so do not toss these out. And then I have some chicken stock. Now, again, ideally what I like to do is I make this the night before Thanksgiving. I get it all together and I wrap it with aluminum foil and I let it sit on my counter overnight so all the flavors can marry. And it's just amazing. The next day when you wake up and you open that foil, it's to die for. First is we're going to go ahead and combine. I've just crumbled this up. That's it. So all I've done is crumbled it up. I'm going to want to combine that with my breadcrumbs there. I'm going to give it a mix. Use your hands. Use those hands. Just mix that up. And ideally you want to do half and half. For a good cornbread dressing, use fresh herbs in my dressing. They're so flavorful. So what you're going to do is, this is rosemary and thyme, and you're just going to take your sprigs and just break them off in there. I like to use a lot, but the full written recipe is already waiting for you at In the Kitchen with Sandy at blogspot.com, along with other recipes. But yeah, I'll just pinch that off in there. That's so aromatic, and the flavors, it just brings an abundance of flavors. Oh my God. I'm gonna kill that cat. An abundance of flavors to your dishes. So you're just gonna get those off there. And I'm gonna continue breaking up my herbs, pulling off my herbs and putting them into my bowl, and then we'll continue. All right, I've got all my fresh herbs pinched up and put into the bowl. Make sure you get all the little stems out. And I think I've got my cat under control. I don't know, we'll see. Go ahead and add a nice couple pinches of salt. You want to season it. Add your onion salt and your poultry seasoning. Where I start? Okay, and you're going to want to give that a mix. I swear, if you could smell this, it smells amazing. Just mix it around real good. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to go over to the stove and we are going to saute our onions and our celery. Butter in a little saucepan, just melting. And what I'm going to do is, and like I forgot to show you what to do with these. Let's go ahead and get these. I was distracted from the cat. The cat distracted me. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to add these to your pan and you're going to saute these babies. They're going to be so good. We're going to jack that up a little bit to get it started. But go ahead and just roughly chop your, I was going to call these lettuce leaves, your celery leaves. Just roughly chop them because you want to put that in there because they have an abundance of flavor. They're so good. We're going to add these right in there. Just right in there. just adds so much flavor to it. Don't throw those out. And we are just going to go ahead and saute these. I can't tell you how amazing celery and onions smell when they're cooking in butter. It just, to me, that screams Thanksgiving. So delicious. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let these saute for until they start getting a little bit tender, maybe for about 6-7 minutes. Okay, I've sauteed my celery and onions for about 6 minutes. Look at that. They've already started turning a translucent, I almost didn't get that word out, color. And you're going to add every bit of it. You want to add every bit of the butter as well. Scrape all that goodness down in there. You're going to give this a mix. Go ahead and mix it around. Real good. Oh my goodness, it smells amazing. Love Thanksgiving and everything about it. Okay, now what you're going to do next is what I like to do. Generally, what I like to do is cover this with foil, and because I make this the day before and put it on my counter, cover it with foil until I'm ready to cook it the next day. All the flavors marry, and it is so amazing when you do that. But for filming purposes, we are going to go ahead and continue. Now, what I do is when my turkey comes out of the oven, I like to get the juices off of my turkey to put in my dressing, because your turkey is just loaded with flavor and all those wonderful flavorings, and it makes for a wonderful dressing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add that turkey stock or chicken stock, whatever you want to call this. This is my chicken stock. I haven't baked my turkey yet. Right into the dressing, but go ahead and use that. Go ahead and use that turkey, the broth from the turkey. It's so much better. And if you don't want to do that, to give your dressing a little extra oomph, you want to go ahead and add a couple of the chicken stock cubes in with your canned chicken stock. Go ahead and add a couple of them in there with that. It just gives it an extra flavor. You have to trust me on this. I am notorious for making the best dressing around and flinging it everywhere. So we're going to mix this really well. Now you want your dressing to be a nice moist consistency. You want it to be a little bit wet. And by that I mean I want you to look down in here. I'm going to take a little bit of it, and you can see how you can almost form it into like a ball. You want it to be wet like that, because when you bake it, it dries it out. So you want to have all that good flavor in there. You don't want it to be too dry. I do not like dry dressing. So this is it. And then we're going to go ahead and put this in our, oh gosh, need some mussels, into our already sprayed baking pan. If you want to make muffins out of these instead, that would be perfect. Little bite-sized muffins. Next year, next year Thanksgiving, that's what we'll do. And then just spread it right on around there, nice and evenly. See how moist that is? Look at that. See how, look, it's like springy. That's how I want your dressing to be. So I can give you exact measurements, but I want you to make sure that you have a nice springy dressing. That's important. It's very important. So we're going to pop this in the oven. I'm going to put some foil over this first, and then we're going to pop it in the oven, 400 degrees. I'm getting so excited here. And we're going to bake this for about 25 to 30 minutes, and then we're going to take the foil off and bake it for another 5 minutes, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, in the oven for about 30 minutes was my dressing with the foil over top, and then I took it off for about another 5 to 10 minutes. Now when you look at this, look how amazing this looks. Pan down, get down in there. Look at all the celery in there, and the onions, and the fresh thyme, and the fresh rosemary. And It's all about the taste. I'm about to give me a bite. This is hot. This is a lot of money. You can find the full recipe at In the Kitchen with Sandy at blogspot.com. And make sure you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and Pinterest. And make sure you make this. I'll see you next time. Bye.